Okay, let's go. Okay. We'll do a little bit of breath work just to start stretching the body up, and then just 3 foundation poses. So just shoulder width apart here, just sinking the body back. You can put the hands on the diaphragm if you want. Just here, you just want to get a nice length through the body. So breathing in through the nose, nice and long. Feel the spine stretch up, and as you breathe out, just keep that length. It's a little bit like the belly button pulls away from the belt or from the pants. Nice deep breath in. Same time as you're feeling the length through the spine, also feel the width through the shoulders. Let the shoulders settle back, down. Also feel as well as you're breathing up, breathe into the back of the ribcage especially, or the back of the lungs. Feel the kind of pressure going back, and as you do it as well, think about the back of the neck lengthening and drawing up as well. Everything's pulling up, away, and decompressing. So you want to get out of this kind of decompressed state. Let there be space, length, width through the whole joint system. Yeah, and just coming back with the arms, nice and gently, just drawing back, opening the shoulders a little bit more. A little bit turning the thumbs out. Length. Chest drawing out a little bit. Just 3 nice deep breaths. In, out, and then just reaching the hands up, just above the head. Keep the eyes focusing forward, just kind of gently raise, pull in the back of the neck up, and just think long. And think at the same time as long up through the spine, think about the feet really anchoring the body down into the ground. Feel the weight really fall through the heels. Nice deep breaths. Feel the ribcage really open, expand. Just let it go. Okay, coming to a little bit of a, not too wide, just about 6 or 7 inches wider than shoulder width. And just going to start by coming back, so just into a nice founder position. Arms coming back, again, keep the chest out, chin pulling back, neck long. Most of the weight settling into the heel. Knees are open, but not bent forward too much. And just reaching forward, hinging the hips back a little bit, coming forward, pressing the fingertips together. Keeping the neck long, try not to collapse it or let the neck come into this kind of position. So you don't want to hyperextend the spine. You want to keep it long, tight, drawing it up away from the hips. And from here, hinging a little bit further, drawing the hands up. You can reach them up, like kind of reaching up for something. And at the same time, hinge the hips back. So the hips and the hands are really drawing apart from each other. Feel like the little finger as well, really, really stretching through. A little bit of tension in the hands. But keep the rest of the body quite relaxed, or as relaxed as you can. It's a high tension kind of pose, but you don't want to make the body rigid. Think about the lengthening through the whole joints. Okay, and then just taking the arms here, you're going to hinge the body up, out the hands a little bit by the ears, just here, and just going to, by hinging the hip, draw the body down. Just the first few, nice and slow. Try not to, in this case, bend the knees too much, so the knees move, but try not to bend them too much. Most of the movement, or almost all of the movement is coming from the hip, and the arms just kind of salute down, or bow down. Keep the neck long, try not to collapse the upper body. Nice and deep as you go. You feel the hips activate. Down. So sink through the hip and pull back up through the hip as well. Just a few more, nice and slow. And then just reaching forward, hinge the hips back a little bit more. Draw the neck up, nice and long. And then from here, sink the hands down into the ground. Fingertips into the ground. Knees a little bit more bent, long through the spine. And then draw the hands up to the shins. Pull the body nice and long. And on the out breath, just drawing back up to the center. Okay, great. Okay, we're going to go into a lunge. So just so that the back heel's off the ground, not too deep. You just here, settle into the front foot, just check. You want to be really into the back of the foot, so you don't want the knee to be forward. You just want it to be bent open and extending through. The back leg's extended, almost fully, but not straight out. So keep a kind of flexibility in the back leg here. And then again, just come into this position here, stretching the body out, pulling the neck long. So you've got more weight in the front foot than the back foot. Back foot's just there to kind of stabilize the body. And then on the breath out, just stretch forward, pull the hips forward through. Yeah, and then as you get to that maximum position with the hip, draw the hands forward too. So you're pulling the hips forward now. Hands come forward with it. Start to press less weight into the back foot, so much more going into the front foot now. Join the hands together. Really press the fingertips together, so a lot of tension in the hands. Okay, and from here, this position, just twisting away from the front leg. Just here, twisting away. Keep the bend forward, so try not to bring the body back. Keep the body tilting forward. So you're really tilting into the front leg. Feel it most in the front hip. You might feel a stretch in the opposite hip as well. So about 6, 7 rotations, nice and tight. And then just bringing the hands back, let the body really come forward, keep the neck long, try not to let the shoulders crunch forward. Get most of the weight's in the back, in the front foot. Reaching up, yeah, nice and long with the hips. And then nice and slowly just drawing the body back, yeah. And then just change sides, so yeah, nice deep lunge. Settle into it, nice long in the spine again. Deep breaths. And then just start to slowly hinge the body forward. Pressing weight into the front foot. Try not to let the knee come over the foot. Just sticks around the ankle. And then as you've got to the maximum point, just scoop the hands forward. Come into extension. Nice deep breath in. And then the same again, just rotating away to the back to the opposite side. Keeping the tilt in the hip. I'm going to keep maximum extension through it. All the rotation. And back to the front. Just bringing the hands back, hips forward as much as you can. So if you kind of feel you're falling forward. Yeah. And reaching right up. As if you're reaching something right on the top shelf, very high. Back long. Right into the front hip. And then release it. Yeah. Okay, shake the legs out. The spine. And then we're going to a really deep founder, so it's like almost double shoulder width, or basically as deep as you can get kind of comfortable with it. So it's nice and long. Feel that the legs are a little bit kind of closing into each other without turning the feet in. Feel that the legs are kind of pulling in towards the center. So you want to get here, keep the same feeling. This is a tricky one because you want to feel again, you're kind of falling backwards a little bit. So the weight's mostly in the heel here, but feel a kind of bridge in the lower body. So sink into it here and just get nice and long. Just settle into it. Feel the feet are really anchoring the body down. And then just come here, hips hinge back and hands come back with it. Nice and long. Into the hip. And then the same through here, just scoop hands forward. Stretch, hit the hinge, hit the hinge the hips back. More. Really deep, so the hips and the hands really drawing apart from each other. Try and stay nice and wide, so try not to narrow too much. Keep it wide in the shoulders. Reach out again, hips hinge a little bit further back. Keep the neck long, try not to hyperextend the spine. Lengthen all the way. And in this case, what you can do is draw one hand down to the ground, just so that the fingertips are in the ground. So you can be here, just about there. So there's not so much weight in the finger. Just extend it. And then from here, draw up and rotate up to the top. So there's just a little bit of weight in the fingers here. You want to feel a nice lengthening through the tip, from the tips of the fingers, all the way through the shoulders, out the other side. And a kind of laser beam all the way through. So draw up, keep the hips hinging back, rotate at the torso. About 5 or 6. And you can do this by folding the arm or reaching the arm out in a kind of circle. Makes it a little bit trickier. You can try both. Reaching up. Reaching right up. Really make sure the top torso really rotates. And then just change the position, change the hand. Reach right up with it. You're reaching right up. Again, you want the movements come from the hips and the torso. One more time. And then just put the hands out. You can walk them a little bit further forward, just so that fingertips are right on the ground, and then just draw the hips back. Final time. Yeah. And then again, just come back up to the shins. Just pull the body out. Draw the body back up. And just one more, we'll just go back here. Last one, really anchor the feet down. And then you're just going to come to this position. So the palms together and the forearms and the elbows tucked together. And from here, just raise them up, sink them down. What you don't do in this one is shrug the shoulders, so sink the shoulders back and down as you draw the hands up. Sink them down. You can either do this in pulses or just hold it at the top. In about 5, 6, nice deep stretches. And let it go. Okay, and then just come back up. Do that. Just shake the legs out, hips. Good. We did a little bit of a 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒉 just to loosen the spine as well. So just coming to them to the ground, just to here. So just starting with the knees tucked, just let the back go down and fold forward. So really tucking the body in a nice ball, tight shape, forwards and backwards. You don't go onto the neck, just down the spine, nice and gentle. Especially if you've got a hard floor. Don't go too fast. Good, and then just start to open the hip. You just keep coming to this butterfly position here, and then draw the body back and stretch forward. So just let the body kind of fall through the hips. Here and then up. Nice tucked position, and then really fold into the hips. Fold into the hip. Okay, good. And we just go into the classic, so just using the arm, rolling down, and cycling through the feet. Really making full contact with the ground. Okay, good. So we'll do the same exercise, just coming up onto the ground. So there's a few ways you can get out of the ground. This is a nice one to do, really opens the hips out. You go down like this, and then keep the back leg down. This front leg is up, and then you're going to use the hands just coil in this way. And you come up into a squat position, you're on the toes, and then just pressing out of the feet, kind of into a high position, kind of into standing position. And then just come back down into the ground. So roll here. Keep the back leg down, toes up this way, and then coil the body into it this way. So it's very minimal, and you just roll up into this kind of very low squat position, and then just raise up out of the feet. Comes to that. You just stand up like this. Just give it a try. Just a nice. Take your time between them. You roll back. You come into a very deep squat, and then you just press up out of it. There we go. That's it. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, in this case, just be really conscious. Again, it's technical, but it's also a feeling. It's about the connection with the ground. So as you go down, or as you find this position here, as you come up, really feel that what you're looking for is the weight to fall into the back. So the heel's not down, but you want to feel that the body's bouncing in the back of the body. You don't want to feel at this point that the body's in the front. And then as I come up, something like that happens. So you draw up through the front of the body and then try and find the balance. Try and find that in this position when you get to this low squat, you're here. Or if the hands can touch the ground, but feel they're very light. And I want to feel that the weight is really settled in the hip and into the heel. And then what you feel is like the heel pressed down into the ground. So feel it's like a kind of pedal. So it's like a kind of coming up, like one of those pedals. You kind of press the pedal and it fires up. You've got this kind of feeling as you go, the body's really weighted in the back, not in the front. Somewhere here. This. And think about kind of sword work kind of exercises. Always trying to get to the back of the body. Give it a try. It's easy to just have a little bit of a pause before you come up. Find the squat, find the weight, and then sink the body up. There we go, there we go, there we go. Nice. There we go. Good. Yeah, exactly. Great. Nice. Great. Good. And then we do the last one. We don't know what. Working with these press ups. So you go to the ground like this. Then you can make it as easy or as hard as you want. So I'm going to do the hard one today. You go like this. Here you press down. And then from this position, if you've got space, just about, you can find a forward roll. Come to this position. And then from here, find your way into the press up. So you come here, down, find the roll, find the press up. Go here. Keep the press up reasonably. You don't want the press up to be too wide. You will get really tired very quickly if you do the press up like this. And you go down, the body's really spread out. So keep the press up quite tight. If you start to struggle with it, go to the knees so that you're in this position as you go down. This is quite easy. If you really struggle with it or you don't have the space, go to the backward roll and just coil into it. Come up, find the position, down, coil into it, find the position, down. Just go to that. Or you can mix them in as you like. So we'll do about 10. Well, maybe 10. We'll see how we go, maybe 20. Just see. So just start with a nice slow press up. Do it in your own time. But just make it as easy or as difficult as you like. So you press down, up, find the roll. You don't even have to do it fast. It's actually better slow. Find the roll. And you can mix in forward roll, backward rolls, whatever you've got space for. Up 2 more. That's one. Do that. I'll keep going. Good. Okay, just stand up, loosen the body up a little bit. Just loosen the hips, arms. Let the body roll a little bit. Working through a sway through the body. You feel the movement really originate and stay in the center, so it's kind of growing in and out. In and out. Let the hands start to really follow the movement. And just start to make it as big as you like, so rolling back, drawing down the body, rolling back, rolling down the body. Just exploring the hands coming away from the body a little bit. Yeah. Great. Good. And we're going to some BOKKEN. Just first we'll go into this swing, so just letting the body drain down through the legs. Nice and heavy in the center, really letting the hips drive down and drive up. And just let the arms follow. So it's really an exercise in reducing the tension in the arms as well. Letting the motion really be driven by the core of the body. Just think about if you're doing it the sword cut, cutting down, drawing up, cutting down, drawing up. There. I'm going to just let the arms swing. No added movement. Just like gravity drawing down. Good, go ahead. Nice. Nice. Okay, and this is a little bit of a variation on this second one we usually do. This one kind of rolling this way doing this. In this case, just find the feet, find the body, and you just start to twist the body. So you're not really, it's somewhere between this one, this, and this movement. But it's not quite either of them. It's just letting the arms kind of come away from the body, And you want to feel this a little bit like a kind of drag. So like you're up to water about the elbow, and you just kind of drag the arm through. So it's really not really about the arm, it's just about the hip work and the feet. So feel the kind of pressure really sinking down. So you want a very heavy quality. Obviously it's very easy to do light like this. Just keep the sensation of a kind of, as if you're doing it in a kind of thick honey or a treacle. There. Drive it through. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, easy for Adrian. Yeah. There we go. No problem. Okay. Yeah, okay. So it's a really subtle one, but just watch the hips. So again, really focusing on the lower body. Watch for something like this happening. So I don't want the structure to go out, especially in the knees and the hips. So I don't want something like that to happen. And also where the ankle starts to twist against itself. So really feel that the lower body's just kind of sink down, and the movement itself is actually going to come from the hip. So it's not going to come from the shoulders or from the kind of feet and the ankles. Really feel that it's going to really come from the hip. So that kind of movement's going to come from a kind of twist off. The knees are open and the shoulders are also open too. So they're going to go with the movement, but they're not going to create it somewhere there. So let the hip really, so quite subtle. And you've got a sensation like a kind of spiraling into the ground. And I want to keep the same sensation of a kind of spiral running through the hands as well. Also play a little bit with this, they're going forward, and also feel that the going back in the arm is also full. So it's got to kind of roll back. And this might be easier if you do with one hand as well, so you can play with both. You can also play with just one, just allows me to concentrate on the connection to the hand. So it's very light. It's a very subtle movement. You got to be kind of full of the structure. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Good. Yeah, and think about this, what I do sometimes when I've got this kind of exercise, you can go two ways with these. You can go too tense, where I'm basically holding everything up, or I can be too loose, where basically everything's kind of like this. This is not so bad. This is a way to get out of the kind of stiffness. So, but see if you can find somewhere in between, which is like what we do in the Aikido when we do stuff. Is like really, we're using a kind of tightness in the hands. So usually when we're doing the kind of BOKKEN stuff, this, or when we're doing the koki stuff, this. So there's a kind of tightness that happens in the hand. And if you think about when we're doing techniques, you need a sensation that you're kind of focusing in the handwork. So the hands need some kind of focus in them. So don't go into these kind of koki positions, but feel that there's a kind of focus in the hand. Or if you think about striking work, there's always going to be a kind of end point in the kind of the joint system. I don't want the joint system to just kind of to be kind of sloppy. So you don't want that, and you don't want that kind of rigid. You want something that's quite flexible, and the hand's going to be a kind of reflection of that. So the hand's the kind of last part of the movement chain. Think about that. And you really want to feel the hip and the hand connecting. So just play with, you've got these movements, you've got these kind of koku movements, you've also got these kind of raising movements. Just expand it a little bit and just feel that something comes through the handwork. Something comes through the handwork there. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Great. Nice, nice. Great. Okay, we've got some BOKKEN work, so just take a BOKKEN. Nice and easy. So we'll just start with number one, just really finding the back, find the back, really feel the weight sinking through the back leg and then just pressing it forward. So that same sense of flexibility in the hip. Like really now with a focus, clear focus in the handwork. Really feel what's happening between the hand and the hip. So the feet, the hips, the hands all integrating together through the movement. Coming down. So. Good. So this is just a really simple exercise just to get the feeling of weight in the legs. So what often we're doing is we're kind of adding movement into the handwork, adding focus in the hand. It's actually what it's doing is lifting the body out of the ground. So you end up, if you really exaggerate, it's something like this. What happens is that the body gets drawn up out of the ground. So, which is really no good. Again, if you think in terms of techniques, when I'm applying force, I don't want the body to be kind of drawn up and out of the ground. So just as an experiment to do this, or just to play with it, you're really playing with the weight through the leg. So when you do this, think that you're really drawing up the back leg. So you're really going into a really 100%. There's nothing in the front foot. So just feel that the front foot is very loose. The hip, you also want to feel is very free. So you want to feel that it's free and that I can release the weight of the body through the hip. So if I feel that the hip's very tight at this point, I'm doing something like this hip's very tight. It's very difficult then to kind of pass anything through it. I'm going to try and add weight into the arms. It will go into this kind of position. So just get the sensation here that the foot's very light. You can be in contact with the mat. It's not about lifting the leg up. Yeah, we'll do that next, but get the sensation that the foot's just kind of floating. And I want to feel that the hip is really loose. So it should be able to kind of do that, and it should be able to do that with very little kind of movement from it. So feel that it's light, and then just feel from that, you can drop into it. So you feel like you're drawing up, there. So all the weight's in the back foot, and then just sink the weight into it. So this needs no upper body to do it. It's just really relying on the weight down, sinking down into the hip. So just see if you can feel it. You can also do this left and right side as well if you like, just to play with it. Just feel that weight shift as you go from the back leg, 100%, into this way you're kind of 50-50 in the base. Especially just feel this moment when you're really upright, the hips nice and free. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There we go. There we go, nice. Yeah, great. Nice. Good. And we'll just work into a modified number one. So in this case, you just slide forward. It's the form where you're going to kind of just come in with the attack. The same attack form that we do with the first 𝒂𝒂𝒏. So you just come in this way and land the weight down. So it's a very short 𝒊𝒏𝒕, and it's really just one movement. So just there, coming in, just so you can get into the kind of a little bit of a different or a modified variation on the 𝒊𝒏𝒕. There. coming through. Again, really focusing on the weight down as you go. There. And back. Yeah. Yeah. Back. Give it a bit of try. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, good. Yeah, so eventually what we'll just split this into a kind of couple of drills as well. It's quite a tricky movement in order to really do well, and with a sense of weight entering the ground as you go through. It's really like a kind of pushing motion. So you've got this kind of motion coming through. So like Lewis was looking on Saturday, this idea, we tend to go upper body first, or we tend to do the other thing is push out of the ground as we go through. So just try this as a kind of drill. The first one, you're not going to move the body in the first movement. So ideally what you want in the movement itself is the whole body goes through. So you come into this movement. The first one to get this, where the weight's going to shift into the back leg, just go to this position. So you really raise the front foot up. So the coordination in this one is like the foot pressing from the back and raising the sword. So you can raise the foot up, or you can actually lift it off the ground. So you go into this kind of position. Don't worry about the cut at all, or drawing the sword down. It's just about this feeling where you sink down and raise up. So what I don't want to do in the first movement is push up out of the ground. This will destroy any sense of balance or weight as I go through. It's a way of moving, but not necessarily what we want to do. So just get the sensation that you sink, raise. And the sword's just going to come above the head, so it's not going to come to the back in this case. So it's going to come here, there. And again, that front foot's very light, or it's super light because you can take it off the ground. Again, the back leg's where the weight's going to be. Yeah. That's it. There we go. That's it. Yeah, it's tricky. Yeah, you don't. Although it's about balance, you don't want it so much to become a balancing exercise. So you don't want to. You don't. It's in a way. It's just a drill. Not really the way the movement specifically is. It has a function of it, which is that motion. So the key thing to feel is just that very first millimeter of movement there, where you actually feel like the weight shifting down there. And what you've got is a kind of primer for the movement to go whoa, straight forward. So you've got that kind of feel. The key thing in this is that I don't feel in this movement that I'm pushing out of the back foot. So there's no kind of push out of the foot like that coming in. You want a sensation of sinking, and you want the sword to raise at the same time there. But actually feel the same movement, then it's not sinking and raising, it's there. So it's all one thing. So just try a few things, just that very first moment there. Oh. And what I don't want to do is this, I don't want to go back. So I don't want the body to swing back and then forward. These are also some things that you don't want to happen. You want the feeling to enter and then come forward. Just feel a little bit of that. So this kind of pull forward in the body. So it's a little bit modified now. You go like this, there, and then the body just swings forward. Again, don't worry about the cut. Just let the cut drop to the ground. Just have that feeling where you're just, it's like you get pulled into the motion. This kind of sensation you want. Yes. There we go. Yeah, exactly. There we go. Nice. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, and then the second step is the kind of raise up and the push and the kind of draw forward. So just again, don't focus on the cut so much. You just come to here, and then you want to focus on this sink, pressing through. So it comes into this stuff. In Kendo, you got a special move, but in this case, it's not the same kind of move because you're not pushing off the ground to get there. You're actually sinking through the ground. So imagine a wheel through the system. It goes underneath here this way. So really feel that the pressure that you build up in this first drill in the back foot goes underneath. and you're just looking to get the raise in the sword. So the main thing I want in this cut is not to raise the sword and then cut and then step the body. You want the whole thing to be one thing. So you want the raise and the drop to be the same thing. So the movement forward is the movement up. That. So you might get a kind of stomp through the system as well if you get a kind of goes like that, and then you're kind of drawing through it. So you're just focusing on that raise, and it has a little bit more of a kind of explosive kind of quality. Straight in. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Nice. That's it. Exactly. Yeah, if you think about kind of taijutsu work from this, think about like shomanuchi work when we do this group movement. So you do that dash straight in, so that the sensation is from the center of the body, the hand linked to the center, comes straight in. So you got this kind of motion. What you don't do in these actions is like and then go. And you also don't do this like this. So you do something like from this position, straight in, so that you get the body and the strike go at the same time. So this really has this sensation of being drawn forward. So the body gets pulled forward, but you do it with the ground underneath you. That's the kind of key to it. So it's got the same dynamics as a push, a good push, not a kind of push where I'm kind of pulling at this. So just think about this. You've got this kind of movement, this kind of feeling, and it's the same with the sword, the same with the empty hand. This kind of sensation. This goes straight into it. So just feel that motion, and you can do it with or without the bokken. It's more about this kind of feeling through the body. So try to have no build-up. There's no kind of there's just boom. So there's just a kind of pure movement goes through. Yeah, there we go. That's it. Oh, there we go. Yeah. There we go. Whoosh. Yeah. And then just come back to the full movement. So what you want to do now is emphasize the strike. So the action that you've got now, which is different from the shomanuchi work, is that you're going to strike down through the sword. So you can think of this two ways. You can think about striking the head, or you can think about cutting through, straight through. Either one's kind of okay. You might want to start by going just for the head. It's a little bit of a shorter movement. That, and you want the feeling as the head, as the foot lands, as the hip comes into place, the sword's coming through it. So you don't want, in this case, like that. You want something where it comes together. That. So they're really going to kind of bounce together. You don't need to do the stomp just for time. Whoa! This kind of feeling. So everything just kind of comes together at the point of the strike. So it's really this point of like Ishin. Everything just goes like one point, one focus, one thing. Go. A second. Left.
So, Michael, what you mean is the landing of the foot and of the feet, and the impact of the bokken is in the same moment.
Yeah. You want basically, if you think about it as weight, think about it as delivering weight through the strike. So you want at the point of the what I don't want is two things. I don't want the cut to come first and then the weight, and then I don't want the weight to be here and then the body, because this is basically broken up. So think about the point of delivery. The point of delivery of the weight is at that point. So it's just really like the first degree where you've got this position and then the weight delivers through it. The weight delivers through it. So the 𝒊𝒏𝒕𝒂𝒕 has been delivered first, and then the body weight shifting behind it in this case, because the point of contact comes with the sword first in this case. So think about as the sword comes through, the weight's going to shift through it this way. So what you're doing in this case is your intent goes first. So my intention goes boom, attack. Attack, and then the sword comes through this way. So the strike and the weight all comes together at the same point. It doesn't like that, and it's not like somewhere that way. Think about it all just timing together. So it just goes that. Like that. Yeah. Good. Now, just think that you're on the receiving side of it. You're going to do like 𝒔𝒊𝒂𝒕 now. So very simple movements. Again, and you want the sensation that as you go, you're going to arc out to the side and find the strike here. So again, you can practice it as striking for the head, or you can practice it as cutting through. So just get the sensation that you've got a strike coming right to the head in one timing. So I need to really get off and that. So again, it's got one timing. In this case, just to avoid this, this kind of movement. So the key obviously is moving off the line. The strike, the response is secondary, but you want the sensation of that. So everything just blends together. Again, it's not about speed, it's about coordination. So just play 𝒔𝒊𝒂𝒕 here and then just there. Here, there. And it's like you get drawn into it as you go. There we go. Yeah, great. There we go. There we go. There we go. Good. And then we'll just do a variation from this. So this involves again this first movement, but it's got more of a receptive quality now. So you come up there, like this kind of position here. So just practicing that. Again, it needs to have one kind of timing. So in this case, it's not a kind of striking movement so much as a kind of rolling up this way. So it's a controlling movement. It's got a striking quality to it. So it's got a kind of quality to it of a strike, but it's not in a sense like something like that. You don't want to hit the arm so much as control it this way. So it's got that kind of percussive quality, but in a really a controlling quality. So the key is the structure at the end of the motion. So I don't want the shoulders to be up tight like this and the body pulled out. I want again the structure to be down this way. If you think about these movements we make like really ikkyo, like this kind of quality, with the feeling of the movement really coming out of the ground. This. So the movement's really there, coming right out of the ground. And then from there, just you can follow it with this kind of movement, or you can follow it with any movement you like. But the key movement is this first one, this, that kind of quality, and then there, really holding the ground as you come down. Give it a try. So it's a nice, simple movement. And again, this transfer of weight across the body into the space. There you go. There we go. There we go. There we go, great, good. So just think about this secondary response now. You basically got lots of targets. So if you get this position, in the person, if you think about it, you've got tons of opportunities for strike. So everything's basically open at this point. So just think about this second response in terms of a target. So what you want to think is like, I've got that position. Okay, this first one's really easy, the side of the head and right in. You can think about opening that movement out, going to the back of the neck there. You can think about going for the throat. You can think about going for the front of the body and the side. You can think about going for the stomach, coming through. And you can also think about cutting for the knee this way. So just think about a target, a very specific target on the body, and go for it. And there's tons of variations. There's lots of methods for this. There's no real set kind of method for it, but just so that you go there. So it's very kind of specific, and each one has a very different quality in terms of body work. This. So each target has a different kind of quality that I need to get into the structure. There. And they're all totally unique in terms of the structure. There. There. Just think about the function of the strike as you do it. And that's it. There we go. That's it. Good. And then the last few, think that the attack is not going to stop on the way in. So you might get a point where if you can hit the wrist or you can hit the hand, you get that kind of, that might happen. But still, they're going to be committed into the strike. So the strike's just going to flow through. So, or what you'll get is a kind of maybe a startle as you go through. But still, they're committed to the attack. So someone come in with a really strong attack like this, it will just go through anyway. So you need to really be, you need to be working the line basically as you do this. So just feel now as you go into these, you go like 1, 2, goes right into it. So feel you go for the wrist, this, and then it flows into the next movement. Can you work with the very simple ones? This kind of movement. But really feel that as you go in, this goes to that. So it goes right into the next movement. So there's no kind of pop and then stall. Just go right through into it. Goes right into it. And again, it's a quality from the bodywork that's passing into the sword. So think about that as it goes into it. Comes right through it. Just feed off the movement. There we go. There we go. Yeah. Good. Very nice. Good. Yeah, and then the key thing with all the also pick one that's challenging for the structure, just the last few, and just notice how difficult it is to get the balance up. Again, the timing in the balance, like this very first cut we did, like this. So that kind of finish where everything comes together. So those kind of moves in a way quite simple, but the timing, the issue of timing is the same. So whether you do this kind of this, you want everything to come together. So just study one, just the last few times. And just study the mechanics that it takes to keep the body in structure. And I want to get rid of all these movements, which is like, or the body's not really finding the structure. So just notice how difficult it is there, especially in flow. But it needs to kind of release through the structure. So that, again, this is a quality of the body getting drawn into the kind of attack. Just try the last few, just pick one and just kind of study it a little bit. Yeah. That's it. That's it. There we go. That's it. There we go, nice. Great. Okay, we'll stop there. So we'll go at. Domo. Arigato.
No, arigato.
Thank you.
Great. Very nice.